we've seen that over the past, I don't know, what, 15 years that Bitcoin and crypto has been in existence. First, it was too small and it was ignored. Now we've gotten to the situation where the markets are breaking down. There is this escape valve. Bitcoin is proving that it's very responsive to the inverse of policy of global central banks and governments, in that, okay, if you want to print more money, well, then this thing is going to go parabolic. And it's a smoke alarm. It's very visible. It's globally traded, and they can't shut it down. And so now we've gotten to the situation where, Pax Americana has now allowed a Bitcoin ETF, which is to allow the largest TradFi managers to take take what Bitcoin is, convert it into a financialized asset, and hopefully convince people who just want to invest fiat to earn more fiat that, okay, you don't really need to own Bitcoin. Here's this ETF thing, put your money in here, and it may go up, may go down, but at least I know that your dollars, euros, yen, yuan, whatever, is still safely within the system. And then if I, the government or central bank, need to find a pot of money to debase, it's still sitting right here and it hasn't escaped. And so that's why I think starting in June of this year, or of last year, the SEC finally all of a sudden decided that BlackRock was the suitable, BlackRock, Fidelity, and all the other people 6 months later, where the Winklevi, I think, launched their first application in 2013, right? And obviously in Hong Kong, good for them. They spent, I don't know how, umpteen hundreds of millions of dollars probably in legal fees trying to get this thing lying to the Hong Kong SFC to get a spot Bitcoin ETF. And I assume that in a few months, there'll be one there listed as well. So if you're Chinese or in that part of the world, there'll be a government-sponsored vehicle for you to invest in Bitcoin as well.
아서헤이즈가 최근 전한 메시지인데요. 아서는 금융업계가 긴급 구제될 위기에 처했다고 밝혔죠. 이런 일이 생기면 비트코인은 위기로부터 안전을 추구하는 사람들에게 최고의 선택 중 하나가 될 것이며, 이는 비트코인의 수요와 가치를 크게 끌어올릴 수 있죠. 아서는 암호화폐의 혁명적인 면을 설명했습니다. 사람들이 중앙당국에 의지하지 않고 자산을 안전하게 보관하고 접근할 수 있게 해주죠. 정부가 처음에 코인을 무시했지만 이젠 통제하려 한다는 것도 기록했죠. 그럼에도 비트코인은 회복력이 있어 전통적인 통화제도 법에 대항하는 피난처 자산으로 작용하죠. 아서가 영상 끝에서 미국 선거가 비트코인 가격에 미치는 영향을 설명합니다. 아서 헤이즈가 2024년에 기대하는 비트코인 가격 예측인데 바로 한번 들어봅시다.
So, I mean, I know we all think that we're special and unique, but the situation that we're in, which is an over-indebted empire, is nothing new. Every single major empire that's ever existed in human civilization has gotten to this point where they've exhausted all the easy productivity gains and then resorted to printing money to cover the difference. And so the American empire of the past 8 years, nothing is different. The only thing that's different this time, which is why it's so exciting to be in crypto, is for the first time in human history, we have a way as the people who are not the elites running everything to escape the eventual downfall or changing of the global architecture. So previously, maybe you had gold, but it's really, really hard to move gold. It's fucking heavy. It's very obvious that you have it. You usually have to employ some either, banks or security guards, somebody with guns or clubs or whatever.
And the government usually has bigger clubs and bigger guns.
Exactly. So that's easy for them to take your stuff. But now with crypto and especially Bitcoin, I can store my private key in my mind. I can remember a 24 mnemonic word to mnemonic phrase and unlock my Bitcoin wallet anywhere where I have an internet connected device. So I can carry $1 worth of assets or $1 trillion worth of assets in my brain. And nobody knows how much money I have or don't have, which is the first time in human history we are able to escape the eventual change in the way that the global economy works. And so because we have this ability to finally escape and to separate money from government, we're creating this entirely new financial architecture that is grassroots level from the ground up. And it's so interesting to see all these very, very smart people around the world who literally all you have to do is read the white paper, understand a bit of code, the economics,
buy some,
and you can create your own exchange, your own whatever you want to create, political system, voting system, decentralized autonomous organization. Like anybody can do this. It doesn't cost you that much money. It's literally just time and effort. And now you can be part of a new financial system. No time else in our history of humans has the individual person been able to affect such massive change from a one-to-many perspective based on, the virality of the internet and, data moving this way. So that's why this is super interesting. It's a similar setup, but a different outcome for the average person who wants to do something different with their lives. So Bitcoin is just money in my lexicon of crypto. I know that the ETH maxis probably disagree with me, but I think that Bitcoin is the best form of cryptographic money that we have created thus far. And that is because the Bitcoin community prioritizes moneyness over everything else. And so obviously the Bitcoin blockchain could do a lot more things if, certain Bitcoin improvement protocols were activated, right? But there's obviously, security concerns, opening up the attack vector. And so everyone's very conservative. We want Bitcoin to be the hardest money ever created, which is fine. And it is. It has the largest market cap of any crypto. And of course, just because you have money, you need a whole financial system as well. So we have Ethereum. We have all these other layer one blockchains that are trying to be the decentralized version of the internet. Now, they might have tokens that are deflationary in terms of issuance. The price might go parabolic, but at the end of the day, these ecosystems will prioritize being a computer versus being money. And Ethereum is a great example. Back in 2016, when the DAO hack happened, and for those who don't know, basically there was this proto VC fund launched by a bunch of grifters, and they they raised, I think, $150 million US worth of ETH at the time. Like, I think the largest crowdfunding project ever in human history at the time. And of course, their code was dog shit, and somebody was able to execute it in a different way than what they thought, and essentially siphon off a large portion of that money. So, the Ethereum community was faced with a very crucial decision point. Do we agree to allow the miners to roll back the blockchain to a state before this DAO thing happened, and thus everybody keeps their ETH? Or do we say, you know what, a transaction is a transaction, this immutable, you lost money, sour grapes, so what? And we move forward. Right. So the community chose, we think that to, increase adoption of our decentralized computer, we should make sure everybody gets their money back. And so they rolled back the blockchain, and essentially we created, Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. Ethereum Classic is the chain where the DAO hack was allowed to persist. And so very clearly the community values the computer more than the money, which is completely fine. This is the point. The community comes together and decides on how they want to run these systems. And so we have Bitcoin as money, and then we have a proto new financial system, decentralized finance, with Ethereum as the largest layer one. And obviously there's many other layer ones like Solana, Cardano, Avalanche, and all these other coins and ecosystems that are trying to compete on the same metric of, I am the best decentralized computer, and therefore you should build applications on top of my network. I think we'll be in the 40,000s. Chopping around in March before the halving. End of the year, my target still, we cracked the all-time high somewhere in late December of this year. And then
I think in your article you said 30 to 35. Is that in the short term?
Yeah, in the short term. So if my prediction works out and this sort of little mini crisis happens, I think we go down to the low 30s. And Bitcoin bottoms first, then the S&P and NASDAQ and the rest of the major global asset markets roll over, except for China, because China's got its own cycle working on over there.
Right.
Everything else rolls over. Everybody panics. Bitcoin rises as panic happens, because what happens when they panic, they cut the rate, they print the money, and then we're off to the races again. So I think it's a very, very short-lived trading window if it happens. So if I'm right, I might have a few days to get out of my puts. If I'm wrong, whatever, I lose some money on the options that I bought, but I'm so long fucking crypto anyways, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And we just keep stair-stepping higher. Imagine if Biden or Trump or RFK or, Haley or whatever clown is talking. It's like, I'm going to stop Social Security and roll back benefits to the 1980s. And I'm going to move the defense budget back to where it was in 1950. And I'm going to, delete the TSA and Homeland Security.
The central bank. He said he wants to shut the central bank.
Yeah. Imagine if any one of these Muppets running for U.S. presidential election said that, or any of the Muppets running for European Council said that, or any of the Muppets in wherever, the country that you're living in said that kind of stuff. Let's roll back the government to where it was before we believed in this neo-Keynesian bullshit, right? Not going to happen. No one's saying that. So no one's addressing the real problem here. And so they're all just playing around the edges of the Fed and the central bank is going to print money, and I'm going to hand out money to this group, and I'm going to and vote for me. And another says I'm going to hand out money to this group, vote for me. And so it's all about who's going to take their money, print the money, which demographic or which constituency they're going to hand it out to, and that's essentially who you're voting for. It's the root of the problem is not being addressed. Problem with other asset classes, yes, you can be a stock picker and you can do really well. I don't have time for that. Not really my forte. But the problem with other assets is nothing has outperformed crypto. Put up a chart as a broad-based sector like S&P, NASDAQ, MSCI Europe, MSCI China, pick your market, doesn't matter. Nothing's outperformed crypto. So if the trend is they will print money and assets go up, then I should own the asset that goes up the most. I don't want to own the asset that goes up kind of the most because I've kind of shortchanged myself. Yeah, great. I made 40% a year on the S&P, but Bitcoin did 500%. I'm kind of number one-ish.
Well, I kind of number 5. Okay.
Yeah. So I want to buy the thing that's performed the best, and Bitcoin has performed the best, and central bank, the basement of the fiat currency complex. And so that's why Bitcoin and crypto is the only thing that I care about, because it's the only thing that's done the best. So I think, again, we have two systems. The fiat system isn't going anywhere anytime soon, right? We have a large percentage of the global population who likes fiat. They understand it. It makes sense for them. They've got a lot of assets in it. They're not going anywhere, right?
Right.
My mom is not going to be using Bitcoin, period. End of sentence. She wouldn't even fucking, use
She doesn't have a Lightning wallet down in El Salvador
She wanted to go to the bank during COVID and, put a fucking check in the bank, because that's how she operates. Fine, whatever. Do what you got to do. And so we have a lot of people in the world like that. So there's the fiat system, and we'd like to use some of the fiat assets in crypto, right? If you want to hold a dollar token, why do we need you to go all the way back to the bank? Why can't you, trust some centralized intermediary to hold these dollars and then issue a digital crypto receipt? And, that's what Tether and USDC and all these other stablecoin issuers are. And it's a great business. Tether makes, fucking $5 billion US a year free cash flow at these rates. Good on them. I wish I owned that business. My fundamental problem with Tether and all stable coins that rely on the banking system is that for these to work, there must be a TradFi bank that allows you to hold all these dollars and treasuries in their bank. And if you take a look at Tether, I think I saw some report they're like the 16th largest holder of US treasuries. Something insane, right?
아서헤이즈가 비트코인이 어떻게 100만 달러를 기록했는지 설명하네요. 미국 금융업계의 위기가 닥치면 그의 관점은 비트코인이 금융의 다른 접근법을 제시한다는 걸 강조합니다. 영상이 도움이 되셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드리겠습니다.